Subtropical storm Alberto making landfall on the northern Gulf Coast. Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan will let us know what impacts we're going to see here on the Suncoast. Plus, multiple Memorial Day events canceled because of the storm. Why some believe some of those events should have still taken place. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC7 News at 5.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for being with us. Jacqueline has the evening off. Topping our news, subtropical storm Alberto will impact weather here on the Suncoast for a couple more days, even though it continues to move farther away from us. Today, Sarasota County lifeguards put up the no swim flag on Siesta Key Beach for Memorial Day. That warning flag means the water is closed to the public due to dangerous swimming conditions and rip currents. Let's get more on our weather right now with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob?
Yes, Scott, it seems like the strongest part of the storm is being felt right now here along the Suncoast with those strong winds coming in from the Gulf. And also, we have a line of intense storms just offshore. We'll keep an eye on that for you. But the good news is that this storm, which caused so much angst over the weekend, is now made landfall. Will continue to weaken. It is a subtropical storm, meaning it's not got the true tropical characteristics of a tropical storm with a warm core center and a lot of storms around its center. But top winds are at 45 miles an hour. It's making landfall right there at Laguna Beach, just to the west of Panama City as we speak. North winds at 9 miles an hour. That's where it's moving now. It's moving northward at 9. Expect a little bit of a northwesterly jog. And it's going to bring a lot of rainfall throughout this region over the next 48 hours to 72 hours before it really weakens into a considerable low there as it makes its way off toward the northwestern portion of Ohio. Well, a big circulation with it. A couple of huge feeder bands moving in through the Gulf of Mexico right now, getting very close to Pinellas County. There are some warnings out, too, for that area. As far as the landfall goes, right there, that's the city that makes the claim for the first storm of the season, making landfall right there. And as far as we're concerned, this line of intense storms continues to inch very closely to our coast. Although it's a very thin line, it still brings some very gusty winds and some heavy rainfall, so a special marine warning is in effect for coastal waters from Manatee County northward, and a few isolated showers inland. There's a yellow line that indicates the special marine warning, where you can see winds up to 40 miles an hour, 40 knots, a little higher than 40 miles an hour, and on top of that, some small hail with that. This is the rainfall estimate since Friday. And some areas now, if that storm would have been a little bit further off to the west, which some of the models have suggested, we would have been in this category, the 9 inches and also the 6-inch range. Just offshore, up to 4 inches of rainfall right there just to the west of Sarasota, just nearly 4, just to the west of Venice. Now, dry air slipped in behind it, and that's what really spared us from getting the heavy rainfall. But still, we're getting this trail of moisture moving up from the tropics, which will stay overhead and give us a pretty good chance for showers and storms, especially with any kind of heating that will go on Tuesday with that dry air kind of staying off to the west. Well, much more in the forecast for the rest of the week coming up in a few minutes. Scott?
All right, Bob, thank you. The threat of Alberto caused organizers to cancel multiple Memorial Day events here on the Suncoast. It's a tradition for thousands of families to line the streets of Venice, Sarasota, Northport, and parts of Bradenton for annual Memorial Day celebrations. But Alberto threatened several of those events, causing organizers to cancel them. Some believe those events should have still taken place, even if there were storms in the area.
I can't imagine. I never want to forget what they gave for us. They didn't think about the weather, did they?
This was the first time in 30 years the city of Sarasota canceled its Memorial Day parade. Some veterans took it upon themselves to host an informal march along Main Street in Sarasota this morning to show their respect. While some events across the area were canceled, others went ahead as planned. In Manatee County, people gathered this morning at Veterans Monument Park in Bradenton to pay tribute. Retired Brigadier General Richard Blunt, the keynote speaker there. Organizers say it's important to keep events like these going to remind the community of the dedicated men and women who have fought for our freedom.
Just to remember the fallen individuals. Right over here we have the monument for the Korean War veterans from Manatee County. We had to add another name a couple of years ago of somebody that had been in a coma for over 30 years from wounds in Vietnam.
Manatee County's Veteran Memorial honors fallen members of the military who have lived here on the Suncoast. And the city of Northport also holding a Memorial Day service at Veterans Park today. The city posting these photos on Twitter showing crowds of people gathered to show respect for those brave service members. The city of Venice watching the Venice Pier closely during the stormy weekend. The pier is in major need of repairs after being damaged during Hurricane Irma last year. But some businesses are not happy with the thought of this tourist attraction closing down to be repaired. ABC7's Christopher Brantley joins us now in Venice with why they're concerned. Christopher?
Well, good evening. And effectively, what the city of Venice is going to be doing is ripping up the boards, the sidewalks, and all of the railings on the fishing pier because they say it's in need of replacement after Hurricane Irma. But the question is, when will that be done? Will it be this year before tourist season, or will it be next year? Venice's fishing pier is a hot spot for tourists and locals. While Monday was a bit blustery, most days the view is beautiful.
We don't look forward to it because it's going to hurt our business out here a little bit.
Peter Murfitt runs the bait shop. He's nervous about the impact the closure will have. They're already coming up with a backup plan.
What we're planning to do is to take the poles and things down to the other shop that we have underneath the restaurant and rent them from there.
No one is quite sure when the work will begin. The City of Venice staff have been deeply ingrained in the soon-to-be redone downtown plans, and the pier got pushed back. What we do know is it will cost somewhere around $650,000 and should take about 90 days after it begins.
If we do get another storm, it doesn't even have to be as big as Irma. There's a chance that some of the damages could be more substantial than what they were in the last storm.
Justin Pashota owns the Sharkies and Fins restaurants. He's hoping the impact at his businesses will be low if the city begins the work in late September or early October. But if the city can't get the work done before the tourist season begins, it's possible it could be held off until next year.
If it does take a little bit longer than expected, I'm sure we'll find a way to roll with it. Really, the city's idea of getting it done as quick as possible is really what's going to be best, not only for the city, but for us.
Now, the work on all of this is going to go out to bid to contractors next week. Now, once a contractor is selected, it will be up to the elected city council to determine when the project should begin, whether it's this year or next. Live in Venice, Christopher Brantley, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Christopher, thank you. Tonight, Manatee County Sheriff's deputies are looking for those responsible for a string of car burglaries in Lakewood Ranch. The burglaries happening overnight at 3 homes on Water Lily Way. Deputies say the suspects opened the victims' unlocked cars and took cash. Sheriff's deputies reminding people to always lock their car doors home and away. An armed robbery shooting suspect is on the loose tonight. It happened late last night at a home on 60th Avenue Drive West in Bradenton. Deputies say they found 20-year-old Trenton Brown in the front yard with a gunshot wound to the leg. They later learned that Brown and another man allegedly robbed the victim at gunpoint. Deputies say Brown fired at the victim and the victim shot back, hitting him in the thigh. Brown is charged with armed robbery and aggravated assault with a firearm. The second suspect, again, remains at large. A science teacher who was shot while tackling an armed student at an Indiana middle school is speaking out about the incident for the first time. Jason Seaman says he jumped into action because he deeply cares for his students. ABC's Danya Backus shows us why students are calling him a hero.
Indiana science teacher Jason Seaman.
My actions on that day, in my mind, were the only acceptable actions I could have done given the circumstances.
Saying he didn't think twice when it came to protecting his students. Seaman's quick thinking is being credited with preventing the shooting at Noblesville Middle School from becoming another deadly massacre.
He immediately was yelling and running right at him and tackled him straight to the ground.
Authorities and students say the teacher, who was also the football coach, tackled the alleged 7th grade gunman who came into his classroom armed with 2 handguns and opened fire.
I'm still processing much of what has happened, but I can say with absolute certainty that I am proud to be a Miller.
Seaman was shot 3 times. One of his students, Ella Whistler, was also hit. She remains in the hospital.
Clear out this way.
This shooting coming just 1 week after police say a 17-year-old opened fire into multiple classrooms at Santa Fe High School in Texas, killing 8 students and 2 teachers. At a baseball game Monday.
Oh my God, we miss you so much.
High fives for the man who is now considered more than just a teacher.
He literally risked his life for us, so that was really, really heroic of him.
A hero who they say ran towards the danger, stopping the suspected gunman from doing even more damage. Students in Noblesville will return back to school tomorrow, and authorities there say there will be police officers at every elementary, middle, and high school until the end of the week. Danya Backus, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Coming up, officials are starting to assess severe flooding damage in Ellicott City, Maryland, outside of Baltimore, while aggressively searching for a missing National Guardsman. And Alberto now making landfall in the Florida Panhandle. Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan will be back with an update. And why pneumonia may be as big a risk factor for heart disease as smoking or diabetes.
Everyone's buzzing about Suncoast View.
I like watching the Suncoast View.
I like the Suncoast View.
The cooking segments, I love the recipes. The theater segments are terrific.
Join Stephanie Roberts, Linda Carson, and special guests on Suncoast View for hot topics, everyday issues, celebrities, food, fashion, fitness, and everything in between. Nothing is off limits.
They're just fun.
For smart, fun talk in the afternoon, watch Suncoast View, weekdays at 4 on ABC7.
I was always worried and scared. Mom was in pain. She wasn't going to get any better, and all the trips to the ER were painful for all of us. Then we called Tidewell Hospice, and everything changed. Now she has care in our home when she needs it, surrounded by family. We know we don't have much time left with Mom, but we decided to make the best out of that time. Tidewell Hospice, it's more than you think.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Get to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Sarasota for big savings during the Jeep Celebration event. Shop the area's largest selection of new 2018 Jeep Wranglers, or get the most awarded SUV of all time, a new Jeep Cherokee, for as little as $19,999. Find the path to your next great adventure in the all-new Jeep Compass for just $17,999. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Sarasota.
My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score. It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach. Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC7 is seeking a photojournalist with experience in news gathering, ENG cameras, and ETIAS. Visit mysuncoast.com/job of the day to apply.
Tonight, at least one man is missing as residents of a Maryland community begin to assess the damage from Sunday's flash floods. The Main Street in Ellicott City was hit by more than 8 inches of rain, much of it during an intense 3-hour window. The streets were turned into fast-moving rivers. People trapped in buildings climbed to higher floors to await help. That area was just being rebuilt after a devastating flood just 2 years ago.
My heart's broken when I walk through the town and see it, frankly, worse than it was in July of 2016. The damage is worse. It's hard to believe it could be worse, but it's worse.
In Maryland, the governor has declared a state of emergency for Ellicott City. Officials say now the priority is finding the one man who is missing. And investigators now know the name of that man, and they say he's a National Guardsman. Howard County officials say Edison Herman was reported missing early Monday morning. His friend says she and her husband were with Herman at a birthday party Sunday when the flooding began. She says he left to help a woman rescue her cat. They were told he slipped into a river and was carried away. As subtropical storm Alberto makes landfall in the Florida Panhandle this afternoon, state officials say they are prepared. After attending a Memorial Day ceremony today, Governor Rick Scott warned Floridians to be ready for heavy rain and dangerous rip currents.
Don't be out on the beach today.
If you're in the Panhandle where you're going to get the rip currents, just don't be out there. Be very, very, very careful out there. You know, we're going to get a lot of rain, so if the rain's going to come down hard some places. So if you're needing to travel, just make sure you're very cautious about that. But I know right now the state's ready, and I've talked to sheriffs in the Panhandle. They're ready. We're constantly having updates. So I think everybody's ready for this. I just hope it's not as bad. Hope it's not bad at all.
Officials say the biggest threat will be the heavy rainfall that could produce flash flooding. Although he has great confidence in emergency personnel, Governor Scott says people still should have a plan. Prepare for the worst. That's what you always tell them, right?
Yeah, a little early too. I'd be doing this. June 1st, the official start of the hurricane season for 2018, and we've had, excuse me, our first subtropical storm. It's making landfall right now, but I want to let people know that this is a statistic that's gone on for years now. It's for every time that you're warned 4 times, of those 4 times you won't see anything happen except for once. So it's only 25% of the time you have to prepare, obviously, because of that possibility the storm can move within 24 hours and sometimes 2 days from now, and we saw that with this storm. There's still a lot of uncertainty. Despite all the new technology and all the new computer forecast models, sometimes it just doesn't happen. Here's what's happening right now, though. What we are seeing happening is some beach warnings and some coastal warnings. Boy, look at that surf. It is high. 7-foot waves crashing ashore. That is causing the rip currents up and down area beaches. Red flag warnings are out for area beachgoers there as a result of the dangerous water and the rip currents. And that will continue, it looks like, throughout the evening hours, subsiding somewhat tomorrow. Well, Alberto has made landfall right there at Laguna Beach, just to the west of Pensacola and Panama City, or to the east of Pensacola. You can see it right there. Top winds are at 45 miles an hour. It's not a very big storm, obviously, and not a very strong storm either. It moves off to the north and northwest, and eventually a bend right through Indiana and Ohio, bringing rainfall with it as it moves in that direction. But for us, we'll see the trailing end of some of them bands move through over the next 48 hours, really. That storm system right there, there's the center, and you can see these 2 pretty big marine warnings, causing marine warnings now, these bands approaching Pinellas County. They are weakening, but still there's some pretty big wind in that. Right there is where it made landfall into Laguna Beach just about a half hour ago or so. And down to our south where we are, we can see some showers and storms extending all the way down well to the southwest of our region, kind of pinwheeling around that area of low pressure. As long as it stays moving north and doesn't have a jog to the east, we'll see this, for the most part, have a hard time making its way onshore, although I think we'll get some late tonight and tomorrow morning. A few isolated showers inland, that's all right now, not a lot going on. And as far as the marine warning goes, you can see that special marine warning is in effect for coastal waters right on through from just near Sarasota northward all the way past Tampa Bay. Well, rainfall was heavy in some areas. Now, we luckily missed it. Some dry air kind of wrapped around the system and moved right into the Suncoast. And that was a good thing because our ground is so saturated right now. You can see that rainfall offshore was in the 4-inch range, close to it there, 5 inches near Key West, and much more down in Cuba where they've had up to 2 feet of rainfall in some places there, 6.2 over the Bahamas. And as far as we're concerned, we're going to see showers and a few isolated thunderstorms in the forecast for the upcoming days now as this trail of moisture continues to be in place, and that dry air is getting bumped off a little bit further off to the west. It's diving due south, but you saw some dry air kind of circulating around Alberta. There it is right there. So that also limited that storm from intensifying and developing. And it was truly not a tropical system in terms of a warm core center as it made its way off toward the north. But this is the forecast, the futurecast showing heavy rainfall still in the panhandle of Florida throughout the day tomorrow. We'll see showers and storms once again developing. We'll keep an eye on this plume of moisture down to our south. This is at 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday. We'll have a pretty good chance of getting some of that action our way throughout the afternoon and evening. Well, the tropical satellite imagery showing that steady stream of moisture still moving over Cuba where they don't need it. And boy, they've been hit hard by Alberto with, as I said, up to 2 feet of rainfall there. Currently, we have cloudy skies and 82 degrees. The humidity high. Winds are out of the south at 23. We've had gusts as high as 30 miles an hour and the pressure 29.83 inches. That should start to rise here again as the system continues to move off to the north. Well, 70% chance for scattered showers and storms. High temperatures will be in the low 80s on Tuesday, 60 on Wednesday. Subsiding to afternoon and evening storms on Thursday and Friday with that rain chance looking pretty good for the weekend at 30% for a few scattered storms in the mix. Temperatures will start to warm up too with a little bit more sunshine. Back to more seasonal averages into the mid to upper 80s there. Low 80s expected on Tuesday, mid 70s for lows. Scott?
All right, Bob, thank you. Let's check first alert traffic. We're seeing on I-75, one northbound lane is blocked at the Fruitville Road exit, but it does not seem to be causing any delays at this hour. The map is all green, and as you might expect, some lighter traffic flow on this Memorial Day. In health news tonight, the World Health Organization wants to eliminate artificial trans fats from global food supply by 2023. Jeremy Roth has a closer look at the effort and what it means for you.
Trans fats could disappear from a lot of your favorite foods if the World Health Organization gets its way. The organization launched a new initiative in hopes of helping countries kick the trans fat habit. The artificial fatty acids are made when vegetable oil hardens in a process called hydrogenation and are used in everything from fried foods to snack foods and baked goods. Manufacturers like to use them because they don't spoil as quickly as other fats, extending the shelf life for those foods. But health advocates say they can do lasting harm to your health. Trans fats are known to raise levels of bad cholesterol and increase your risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. The WHO is hoping the initiative they're calling Replace will teach countries how to swap out those artificial trans fats. While some countries and U.S. states have already started moving away from man-made trans fats, the goal is to have them removed from all foods by 2023. For today's Health Minute, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Pneumonia may be as big a risk factor for heart disease as smoking or diabetes. A recent study shows hospitalization for pneumonia was associated with increased short-term and long-term risk of cardiovascular disease, especially for those age 65 and older. The risk appeared to be highest in the first year after hospitalization, but also remained higher than someone who had not been hospitalized for pneumonia during the following decade. Doctors say the results point out the importance of getting pneumonia treated in a timely fashion. Coming up, a driver smashes other cars while escaping during a traffic stop in New York City. Plus, why a crowd in California made sure the national anthem would ring out during a softball game.
If you don't want to fall immediately into love, look away. If you don't want to awaken a desire for excellence, look away. If you don't want to be seduced, please look away.
Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Since 2004, Embracing Our Differences has used the power of art and education to promote diversity. One way it accomplishes this is through its annual outdoor exhibition of 45 billboard-sized works of art, each accompanied by an inspirational quote. Join us in creating a community that is inclusive for all, where differences are embraced and individuality is celebrated. We invite you to celebrate the voices and visions of diversity and inclusion at this year's exhibit at Sarasota's Island Park.
Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP is the largest locally owned CPAP supply company in the area. Is it time to replace your old equipment? The staff at Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP can show you the most up-to-date CPAP equipment and supplies to meet your sleep apnea needs, including portable travel devices and the SoClean automatic CPAP sanitizer. We serve all of Southwest Florida, giving the highest quality of care with the finest CPAP equipment. Please visit our website, sarasotacpap.com.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. When we first heard that diagnosis, you feel extremely alone. Walking in that Light the Night light with 6,000 people carrying lights, white for survivors, red for supporters, gold in memory of those who have passed. It's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's hope that every year there are fewer gold lanterns. Your lantern will make a difference.
Start a team, join a team.
Help us light the night.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
A dangerous getaway in New York City is caught on camera. The man behind the wheel nearly running over 3 police officers and anyone else in his way. This happened during a traffic stop early Sunday morning. With the front bumper nearly completely torn off the car, the driver hops the curb, barrels down a sidewalk, and breaks free. Police say he got into another crash, and that's when they arrested him. Massive flames engulf a warehouse in Houston, Texas, as firefighters battle to put him out. You can see a lot of thick black smoke over the building. There apparently were several explosions due to a buildup of pressure in containers of polyethylene. Fire officials say the building houses chemical processing equipment. It was not immediately clear what caused the fire or if there were any injuries. Well, when it was announced the national anthem wasn't going to be played at a high school softball game, the crowd took matters into its own hands. Some in the audience even booed at the news, and then a few people began to sing. When the song was over, everyone broke into applause, and the teams went on to play ball. Organizers say they did not plan to play the anthem for that second game because they had already done so before the first game of the day, but going forward, they will now play the anthem at every game. Still to come in your Suncoast News, why residents on Lido Key are already worried about the lack of sand on their beach, and how people visiting the Suncoast are paying their respects to service members who died fighting for our country.
Get to Sunset Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat in Sarasota for big savings on new Ram trucks. The Ram 1500 has been named a Consumer Guide Best Buy for 6 years in a row. And right now, get the all-new redesigned 2018 Ram Quad Cab for as little as $23,999. Or save big and get up to $12,400 off a new Ram Bighorn Crew Cab. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat in Sarasota.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Supan, part of the U.S. Paralympic rugby team. In my game, movement is everything. I get frustrated when my move is blocked, especially when that guy has no right to be there, even just for a minute. I love a challenge, but I don't like to play this game every day.
A message from the United Spinal Association.